also wanted to tap into, the student body of the SFSU because a lot of us are filmmakers here. So I guess I would love to delve into your guys' story, into... I see everyone pulling out their list. Everyone's ready. I love it. I feel like the easiest way to kind of get a brand synopsis of everyone's filmmaking journey is to just see what is everyone's 4 foundational films. Who I know we seem to go to you a lot for the first, but if you want to change it up, feel free.
It's all good.
All right, it's all you again.
Sure.
You got it.
I did technical theater a lot in high school, and through that, I got into filmmaking, not really because of the films I was watching, but because of behind-the-scenes documentaries of those films being made, and I saw a lot of similarities between filmmaking and technical theater, and I was like, oh, this is, a new world, but it's also similar to what I've been doing. And so I would say a lot of just like old behind-the-scenes photos and documentaries. I mean, the ones from The Lord of the Rings were really, really inspirational. They're all on YouTube, and it's just amazing to see something that big and all these people so passionate about it. And I was seeing, similarities between the passion that I had within theater, and so that it really inspired me to go into filmmaking. And then also my favorite film of all time is a Studio Ghibli film called Whisper of the Heart, which is about a girl who decides that she wants to be a writer and struggles with that and struggles with becoming a creative, becoming an artist. And that journey was, I saw in myself and my own art, and was really, really inspirational. And I think a lot of what the film is saying is you just need to push yourself and go outside of your comfort zone. And so even though I wasn't really sure about, do I really want to go to film school? Is this really what I want to commit my career to? I just kind of said, screw it. I'm going to do what feels right and what feels passionate for me. And so I would say...
Were there external factors that were kind of pressuring you? Like, do I really want to do this? Or was it really just like a internal doubt? Like, is this,
It was mostly internal. I mean, my mom is an author and an artist and has always been very supportive of me wanting to go into the arts, but there's still so many, your teachers, your classmates are like, oh, wow, you're going to school for a film? Okay, then. And you're just like, oh, well, okay, maybe I want to do something else. But no, at the end of the day, it's those films and the experiences and behind the scenes things showing you that there is passion and love and creativity there, and it is possible to have as a career.
I believe that's 2 from you. Did you have 2 more? Or are you?
I don't think I have any more.
The rest is The Lord of the Rings.
I know. There you go. That's the trilogy. So
there you go.
Three behind the scenes right there. Yeah. No. But I know for me personally, seeing the behind the scenes for like Star Wars, like the prequel series, you see how practical the sets were back then, and surprisingly so. So, yeah. Who would like to go next with their 4 films?
I'll start with how I got into filmmaking. Like when I was young, of course, I made videos with my sister and my friends, and like I'd love doing that on iMovie, like I made one with my sister and my childhood friend called Awkward Eaters, and like we were just like eating food, like close-ups of us eating awkwardly. Okay. So just stuff like that.
Mukbanger before mukbang.
Yeah. Exactly. I started the trend, guys. But I wasn't really like thinking about film as a career or anything, but like Alice, I did technical theater too. I did a costuming in high school, and then my sister was like super involved in technical theater as well, and she went into theater for school, and she does that now for her career. So I was, kind of intrigued towards the arts, more studio art than filmmaking, and so I kind of decided to like transition that into a filmmaking environment. And so I initially started going to school at San Diego State University for film, and I was trying to get on sets, and I was like really excited to do production design and like all the building, and I decided to move back home because I'm from the Bay. And yeah, the film community up here is really fun and really encouraging. And so yeah, I mean, my journey into film wasn't one that was like, I definitely want to do this. Like, I know that this is what I want. I kind of just found it. It's like, I love watching movies. If I could watch movies for the rest of my life and that be my job, I would love that. Some of my foundational films, I wrote a list. I have Young Girls of Rochefort, Monty Python and the Holy Grail. That one is just like influenced a lot of my sense of humor. When I was little, my cousin would always put that movie on, And I would be like, turn this off. Like, I want Fantasia. And they'd be like, that's so boring. But I've grown to love it. I think it's one of the funniest movies ever. And then In the Mood for Love, definitely one of my foundational films, like in regards to storytelling and how a soundtrack can really influence a film as well. Relationship dynamics, anything and everything. I think that film is like perfectly executed. And then The Handmaiden as well. That film kind of changed the way that I thought about filmmaking in regards to structure and how you can manipulate the audience's interpretation of what's going on, because there's 3 separate segments of the film and it's all told from a different point of view. So that one definitely influenced how my approach to what a narrative can be and how you can alter that in order to make it more immersive and more interesting.
My journey with film started when I was really young. Like Caitlin said, I was always like making videos like on my iPad and my iPod and stuff. I also loved acting as a child. I did a lot of acting, like theater, stuff like that. Once I entered high school, I developed pretty bad anxiety, and it kind of built up a wall with me and like film and like acting and the things that I love to do, and it kind of stayed with me for a while. It stayed with me until I was like in my first to second year of community college. I just kind of like decided I would settle for like psychology. And then I remember one day, like I had a friend from high school who also went to the same community college as me, and she posted something like in our school's TV studio, and I just kind of asked her like, hey, what's that about? And she was like, oh, it's a class, you should join. And so I ended up taking the class. It was like a filmmaking class, and I was like, whoa, like I actually love this. And I just told myself like, it's a hard industry to get into, but like I got this. And so since then, like my anxiety with like film and like what I love to do has definitely gone away. I love writing. Script writing is like my number one thing that I love to do. I also love to like produce and assistant direct stuff. But yeah, my love for film definitely re-sparked once I was in community college. As far as my favorite films, I love Scream and Halloween, like the slasher films. Love those. I love writing horror stuff. That's like one of my favorite genres to write. My other favorite genre is comedy. I love Bottoms is another good one that I saw recently.
I just watched that.
It's so good. But yeah, I love that. As someone who deals with a lot of mental health, I love writing comedy. I think like that's a great escape. It's always been an escape for me. I love things like SNL, comedy shows, comedy movies. In my last film, it's not really a film, it's a TV show, but I wanted to point out it was The Office. That's something that really sparked like my inspiration. Like almost all the films that I've written, like there's been some inspiration from The Office in those. I love writing comedy, so those are my top 4.
I think that's a very important story to tell too, of how much film can really help that mental side of your life. There's just so many things about whether it's saying things that you always wanted to say, or thoughts that you've always had, or just a beautiful image that calms you. I think that's very interesting. Just curious, since you're a Halloween head, do you have like a movie that you like? What was last year? What was the movie you put on because it was Halloween?
All the Scream movies. I would say the first 4. The newer ones I don't have on DVD yet, but I always cycle through those 4, and then Halloween. Like those are my go-to. I always watch those. Oh, and Jaws. Jaws is pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
Jaws isn't like a slasher, but like that one's really good.
Yeah.
It's horror still.
Yeah, I keep hearing stories about at the time people were legitimately scared of going to the beach after the release of that movie. And I'm like,
I couldn't even go in the pool. My grandma would show me that when I was like 5. My mom was so mad at her. My mom was like, why would you do that? She's like, it's fun.
oh man. Yeah, Precious, I would love to hear what's yours.
Sure, yeah. I think that my film journey started a lot later in life. If you knew me since childhood, you would know that my mother is a stay-at-home parent, has been since I was born, and they immigrated to America the same year that I was born from the Philippines. And my dad and both of my brothers are engineers, and so is my extended family. My aunts, uncles, cousins, they're all also engineers, different kinds of engineers, but engineers. So I had always just assumed like I would be an engineer in my life. That was the easy way. And yeah, it seemed like just the easy path. Like I said, it was something that I was always told, like, hey, this is how we were able to make it in America. Like, we became engineers. My dad was one of the first people to immigrate from my family, and he was the one that was able to give like my cousins and my aunts and uncles their jobs, and eventually my brothers when they were done with school. So, but I was just awful at math and science. Like, I was so bad at it. I was like, there's no way. I would be the worst engineer in the world. Like, do not trust any kind of structural thing in my hands. Like, it'll be so bad. But it seemed so easy, and I knew nothing else because that was all that I was told. And so when I was reaching my senior year of high school, I unfortunately had 3 of my friends pass away all in the same senior year. 2 of them were sisters, and then one of them was a friend in the same grade of me. His name was Chad Santamaria, and he was good at everything. And he wanted to really get into animation, specifically stop motion animation, and his YouTube channel is still up. It's at the Sprite Plate, I believe, or Sprite Plate, something like that. You'll be able to find it. He did a lot of stop motion animation work with Legos there, and he was really, really, really good at it. I had no doubt that he would have been able to be successful in that industry should he have been able to give a chance to. So we were both just really into film and TV shows in general, and we would always chat it up, and he was always just like, yeah, like, why don't you just do it, like make a YouTube channel or do something like that. But I had no confidence at the time. I didn't want to give myself any quote unquote false hope because I had always been assigned this dream of like, you're going to be an engineer or you're going to be a stay-at-home parent. That was like the 2 paths that seemed to be like assigned to me. But yeah, when he had passed away from a brain tumor my senior year, and then when my other 2 friends had passed away previously from a fire, that kind of made me realize that life is too short to like have it be assigned to you, and that I should pursue what I wanted to do. And then I realized that I had no idea what I wanted to do because, like I said, it had been shown to me this whole time. So I was like, okay, well, I applied to all these colleges for engineering. What am I going to do now? So I decided to go to community college, and I thought that I was going to take up creative writing for a little bit, but then I had realized a lot because the foundational films that I'm going to be getting to, that I wanted to pursue film. I think it was something that always gave me a source of happiness. Like Caitlin said, if I could just like spend my whole life watching films, like that would be so blissful and I would have no complaints at all. So I was like, okay, let me go to this film program at Diablo Valley College. I heard that it was pretty decent for a community college, got into it. I thought that I was going to be a screenwriter. That's what I thought at first because I did want to go into creative writing. And I still enjoy screenwriting for a little bit, but I think I realized that I have different strong suits, and I also didn't really envision me writing for a career long term. I think that would have lessened my personal passion for writing and my film journey. Yeah, I'm not a person who's like just writing. Like if I have an idea, I'll write it down. But I was like, okay, realistically, I don't think this will be a career of mine. And so I ended up taking a editing class, and just an intro to editing class. It was one of the requirements, or not a requirement necessarily, but they were like, oh, you need an extracurricular. And I was like, I'll take this intro to editing class. That'll be my thing. And I took it, and my professor thought that I was really good. She was like, you should take the advanced class. So I was like, okay. Took the advanced class. She still really, really liked me. Shout out to Sarah Bimji. And she got me my first like video editing job with a previous student and friend of hers. And so I started working contract for them and editing their videos. That was really dope. I'm really super thankful that she opened that path for me. And now I currently work as a video editor at an advertising agency where I do commercials for Toyota, AAA, McDonald's, and social media videos for them. I found that I really enjoy editing. I love it. I like advertising so far as a student. I might continue it after I graduate, but I really would also love to get into film and television editing as well. But that's where I'm at.
That's an amazing story. First of all, it's a lot to resonate with. First of all, I also went to DVC. Go Vikings.
Go Vikings.
I'm also Filipino, so I definitely resonate with a lot of your points regarding you live a lot of your life with your parents' expectations in mind. Yeah. So I am curious, when you had the conversation, or if you had the conversation with them regarding like, okay, I want to be in film or work in this industry, what was that conversation like? What was their reaction? Because it's one thing to say like I am interested in it, but to really own it is another thing.
Yeah. I think they had gotten sort of the hints for a while now that engineering was probably something that I wasn't going to end up doing, but they definitely tried to steer me down different STEM paths, like, you know, Filipinos, like be a nurse, be all these other things, definitely nothing within creative. So the first people that I told were my brothers, and they were supportive of me, I think, almost immediately, especially my oldest brother, Rolf, who he didn't really know what he wanted to do with his life after he graduated high school. And so he became just an engineer by default. And he's really appreciative. He makes good money. He can be able to provide for his family. But he knows that that's not what he wants to do, like, necessarily, and he's been able to fulfill his life through his hobbies, but as a career he wished he figured out earlier on that he can do other things than just be an engineer. So I think with the support of my siblings, they were able to help me have that conversation with my parents. And also my brother, who was dating this girl who's now his wife, she was a graphic designer, and so that was also a creative field, and she makes more money than him, to be transparent, and they're both really proud about that. And so because of her success and because my parents also loved her, they're like, look at her, she was able to do it. She makes more money than an engineer than like any of us. So like that was really helpful for me in terms of having that conversation. And honestly, it wasn't even that scary than I thought it was. They were way more receptive than I could have ever imagined, and I'm really thankful that they were, and they were super supportive of my career. And you know, when I was in community college and I got my first job in video editing already, they were just like, okay, she's set, she really wants to do this, and she's already succeeding in doing this. And again, like, I'm just really thankful that that was a situation. I know for a lot of people, especially in the Asian American community, that support is not always there once you realize that you want to do something outside of what your parents had wanted you to do or what they expect you to do. So that was really awesome. But I forgot to talk about my 4 foundational films while I was, you know, dumping.
We're now in the therapy talk of our
exactly.
show. Welcome.
But yeah, so my 4 foundational films, I have Spider-Man 2, the Sam Raimi Spider-Man 2. I've always been like a Spider-Man lover before, you know, the whole MCU and stuff. Yeah. You know, everybody has this superhero fatigue, and I get that nowadays. But Spider-Man 2 was also just very transformational for me. It's a comfort film. It like made me realize like, hey, like silly little spider guy, like he can make me emotional, and like just all these other super awesome things. Came out in 2002. I was born in 2001. So it was just something very early on in my career that I remember me being like, yeah, like this is the stuff, like this is where it's at. Exactly. And I also have Rush Hour.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, Rush Hour, Chris Tucker, Jackie Chan. I know that a lot of the stuff hasn't aged well. That was a whole conversation that I had a while ago with like my friends and stuff like that. But I can't deny about how foundational it was for me to see somebody like Jackie Chan, who's an Asian man in a leading role in a comedy, and to be a buddy cop comedy with a black man in Chris Tucker. Yeah, that was super awesome to me to see that kind of representation between them. So, and then my next one is 12 Angry Men, which is a lot different from Spider-Man 2 and Rush Hour, not pop culture sort of film. But when I was in high school, I went to a pretty bad high school, I would say. Like, they weren't necessarily supportive of their students, low economic status for a lot of the people who went there, and we were pretty bad kids, like in general, I'd say, like as a collective, as a class. And you know, when my teacher came up there and she was just like, okay, we're gonna put on a movie, it's like, yay. And it's like this black and white movie from like 19 something
where it's just literally just 12 dudes talking.
Yeah, just 12 dudes talking the whole time. Courtroom drama. Everybody was just like, oh, like F this, like, or we're just gonna be on our phone, we're gonna go to sleep, whatever, we're just gonna talk to our friends. But the way that the whole class eventually just started to shut up and pay attention to the movie and be invested into it, I had never seen anything like it from like an old film like that. Even if they had Shrek playing, like people wouldn't care as much. So that movie was really awesome for me, and I think for the rest of the class too. That was really important. And my final film I have is also In the Mood for Love, which Tinny had mentioned. I think that's between the two of us. Like, you know, we really like it. We really vibe with it. Again, with just Asian representation is super duper important to me. It's an international film, so it's not even like, you know, made in America or anything like that. But just the themes and the storytelling, just, I don't want to go on because I've gone on long enough, but as, Caitlin had said, just it's beautiful, beautiful film that had made me realize that filmmaking can be so much more than just like an action, a comedy. It can be like a slow-paced drama, romance that just breaks your heart and soul and kind of makes you want to go into a hole. But
I had decided to put on that movie because I was in the mood for love, and I was okay. Like, it's around Valentine's Day. I would love to, get in the mood. I keep seeing this movie, We're in the Mood for Love, and this one, I've seen the clip of them looking at each other. I'm like, oh, this expectation of this swooning, beautiful moment, and I walked away from my TV that night just
In tears.
not be alive.
Yeah.
Just thinking like, is life worth it?
The end scene where he's whispering into the
tree.
Oh my God.
That cracks me every time. Tears.
Yeah, I just get
Tears.
so to any listeners out there, In the Mood for Love, misleading title.
Do not watch it if you're in the mood for love. Oh my
If you're
God.
in the mood to cry,
Yeah, there
that
you
is
go.
a movie to turn on.
Yeah, whoever titled that movie was misled and just a complete sicko and toyed with my emotions, and yeah.